People used to dance in the 80s.
There was joy. There was it almost like, I think the reason why people love the 80s is that we weren't self-referential yet. So people were just doing weird, funny things for the fun of it. No one was doing their version of the Icky Shuffle to make fun of the Icky Shuffle, except for Icky Woods. So now
Mark Gastineau would dance, and you just got the feeling like,
you're so white.
yeah,
Just stop.
stop doing what you're
Or
doing.
keep doing it because it's funny.
All 6 of you work your tail off.
5 seconds left. 4, you dreaming? 3, number 3. Evidently 2 rushes 2 weeks. 1.
The 80s. Who doesn't love the 80s? You had parachute pants, the Rubik's Cube, people were dancing like Egyptians.
Cheers on NBC, videos on MTV, Montana on the 49ers, Don Johnson wearing pastels.
Those Pretty in Pink, those 16 Candles movies.
That was the heyday of hip-hop. Rap came out in the 80s.
I urge you to revisit the 80s.
Our countdown will do just that and lift the NFL up where it belongs.
Football in the 80s perfectly personified the decade. You had stars that were larger than life, teams that were larger than life, records being shattered, flashy uniforms, flashy styles. A lot of people reflect back in the 80s as a golden era for the NFL.
Throwing long for Mickey Schuler. He's open. Touchdown!
Oh, Mickey, you're so fine, but you're not our Top Gun. There's always something there to remind us when Jerry met Nancy, or that little ditty about John and Pat, two American men talking the best they can. We'll pour some sugar on hair and pump up the jam with Jim. Celebrate good times when the league didn't need to blind us with science, when players decided to fight for their right to play ball. Coaches told people to beat it, and Joe played on a field of dreams. This list is, like, totally rad.
The number 10 reason we love the 80s. Tecmo Bowl.
I'm a shameless Tecmo Bowl defender, so yes, this is far too low. It's the seminal video game of any child's life growing up.
Me and my buddies used to get blisters on our thumbs, so we sit there and play for hours upon hours.
I still have it in my garage. I may even pull it out when I get back home just to bring back a little bit of nostalgia. Tecmo Bowl, greatest video game of all time. You got hut. They're just hutting forever. You've got the zigzag move, right? As long as you zigzag like in a wave, you're going to score a touchdown. How is Tecmo Bowl not number 1?
How sweet it is.
Whoever made this list should be flogged.
Guys like us who grew up when we did in the 80s, going to Tecmo, it was like a whole new world opened up. You got to take Tecmo higher on that list.
59 Razor, 39
Tecmo Bowl scored with us because it ignited the football video game revolution.
That was our Madden back in the day. Tecmo Bowl was great when it came out.
This was it. This was the digital version of the NFL.
Even today, tournaments attract the next generation of fans.
I have Tecmo Bowl right now. That was a Christmas gift this year. They were so simple, yet so awesome.
I do remember those 4 plays that you had on Tecmo Bowl, and hopefully you didn't pick the same play as me because all-out blitz were coming if you did.
I have a lot of people who come up to me and say, I know you. You're the guy who used to play on Tecmo Bowl. By far, it made me look better than I am. It made me look a lot faster.
While many gained new recognition beyond the field, one player refused to embrace the future.
Randall Cunningham is QB Eagles. Like, everybody else is their guy, but Randall Cunningham at the time was like, that video game thing is not for me.
Oh, man. How can you not have Randall Cunningham's name on Tecmo Bowl? You're right, I remember that.
I think we're looking at Plastic Man.
While Cunningham shunned the video spotlight, another player shone as the game's undisputed star.
I remember Bo Jackson being unstoppable.
Unstoppable.
You can pitch it to Bo Jackson, and you sweep left, and you spin him around and run it right up the middle. Today, you can't stop that play. It's unstoppable.
You're telling me that doesn't perfectly encapsulate the decade of the 80s? I think it's the very definition of.
People, thank you. Honestly, without Tecmo Bowl, I wouldn't be the man I am today.
The 80s was a decade when football meant fun.
It was before the NFL became the no fun league.
A lot of things tightened up, you know what I'm talking about?
Then it was like the wide open NFL. It was like the Wild West of professional sports.
There goes Bo. I love the style, the flash. You had real personalities. It was last of the player era, really.
They all had their own touchdown dances. It was, I guess, unlegislated. It was great.
Our number 9 made the list because they also ignored the rule book.
The number 9 reason we love the 80s. The NFL Today on CBS.
Giselle Black up on 2. Q.
Way too low. Because my entire imagery of football in the 80s is revolving around that set.
Last night I went to my TV guide
with that cast, that music.
The NFL Today was the greatest thing ever invented. More important to the fabric of America than the automobile. And that show was simply unequaled.
The two teams with the best records in football get ready for the game's biggest day.
The NFL Today is number 9 on our list because it reached its creative and influential peak in the 80s where it stood alone.
Before you could get 42 pregame shows, there was one pregame show.
Take remote.
It's a cold and windy day at Shea Stadium in New York. Outside, there's lots of snow. Inside, there isn't.
They set the stage so extremely well by telling you what the storyline was of that game going in.
And the play that caused an NFL coach to lose his job.
Brent Musburger is still the standard by which all pregame show hosts are measured. The guy was unflappable, simply sensational.
Music, effect, go Brent.
You are looking live.
When Brent Musburger at the beginning of the show says, "You are looking live."
You are looking live.
You are looking live at sold-out Bush Memorial Stadium.
It still sends chills down my spine.
Not only did our number 9 take viewers to stadiums across the country, it also connected them to the players, creating the NFL's first global village.
It suddenly brought football into the whole living room. Wives and daughters would sit and watch to see what Phyllis George had to say.
I said, you know, you have this really straight, square image, Roger. And he said, and let me tell you something, Phyllis.
You know, I enjoy sex as much as Joe Namath. Only I do it with one girl, you know?
His wife, Marianne, hit the floor running down the street. We never saw her again that afternoon.
I'll have an inside look at a team that's beginning to doubt its own ability to win.
Irv Cross was solid. He just was a solid that played in the NFL for Philadelphia.
Giving you the X's and O's, talking esoterica, but in lay language so that you could understand it.
And my boy, Jimmy the Greek. Jimmy the Greek. He's got style.
I have some inside information that nowhere else you'll find, and a choice that may just boggle your mind.
You had Jimmy the Greek there for one reason only. To tell you who he liked in the game on the betting line. But they didn't want to say, I'll take the 4 points. Jimmy would just tell you which of the two sides he liked, and it was for you to figure out.
It was almost like a game show, and they would remove one panel, you know, offense, and there'd be a check. And then we go down to defense and check.
Well, it ain't a big check. It's a very small check.
It was so primitive, but we thought it was cool. But whoa, look at that.
Probably didn't make the NFL terribly comfortable at the time that he was involved, but still, nobody did anything about this. He had his place, and you had to love the NFL Today.
They've never been able to top that group.
All that and more coming up on the NFL Today.
Replacement team programs here. You really need one today.
The number 8 reason we love the 80s. Scabs.
Oh, scab players. That's number 8. Well, that's reaching, man.
Yeah, I'm not sure I love scabs.
I don't like work stoppages. Weird. Didn't know how to process that as a football fan.
It was probably the darkest 3 weeks
chapter in NFL history.
As of midnight tonight, the Players in the National Football League will be on strike.
So while players literally picketed, the games went on, and weeks 4 through 6 of 1987 were played by replacement players.
If you could call those 3 real NFL games, that would be a liberal interpretation, of professional football.
Scab games, I love it. The thing I remember is thinking, wait, they're going to count these games?
Rick Neuheisel, I think, still owns a San Diego Charger passing record of some sort, which is a total embarrassment.
Playing in front of half-full stadiums at best with guys you've never heard of.
You're looking at the TV and you're thinking, I'm watching the Eagles play the Giants, except for you weren't. You were watching some guy who was like a high school math teacher play some guy who, just got out of the doctor's office. It was kind of entertaining because it could have been your neighbor out there. Like, you didn't know who was out there. And you thought, maybe I got a shot.
Are you ready for this?
That's the ultimate underdog story. Here's a guy that came in and just wanted to play while all these other rich guys were out on strike.
So we got to start somewhere.
I'm just out here doing a job, trying to make a living.
Why has reality TV worked? Why do people want to see America's Top Chef? Because we want to see people out of their element.
It was giving guys an opportunity, but it was not entertaining to me at all.
When you buy NFL football, you buy prime rib. You don't expect to be served hot dogs.
Mike Ditka took the replacement games very seriously. He said, of the Scabs, these are my guys.
Not a very good situation. They made the best of it.
One of the games was against Philadelphia, and Buddy Ryan hated his Scabs. It showed in how the game was played.
Remember walking to Veterans Stadium when the Eagles were playing a Scab game? It was ugly. The trucks outside the stadium, they were screaming at the fans going in. It was just very ugly situation.
The Redskins did pretty well with it.
I was one of the people in charge of bringing the players in. We're going in to play Dallas, and we have no chance to win this game. I mean, it's Monday night. We're playing for first place, and they've got all these big-name players out there. Randy White, Too Tall Jones, Tony Dorsett, and we're playing with a bunch of guys that were going to be out of work the next day. We got one guy from being a guard at a 7-Eleven. We got 4 guys out of a halfway house, and we upset him, and it was a heck of a game.
I don't know if the Scabs for the Redskins got a cut of the Super Bowl money or got rings, but they should have.
With all due respect to Redskins fans everywhere, 87 remains kind of an asterisk year to me. It's like, that was a weird year. If you won the Super Bowl that year, it just wasn't a real year.
These days, you've got round-the-clock sports channels everywhere, and when something big happens in a football game, you see it over and over and over and over again. Back then, you didn't.
You'd be starved for highlights back in the 80s.
The number 7 reason we love the 80s. Alcoa Fantastic Finishes.
Alcoa presents
Fantastic
Finishes.
Alcoa presents Fantastic Finishes.
You would stay tuned just to watch the Alcoa Fantastic Finish.
Fantastic Finishes was always on at the 2-minute warning, so that meant the game was almost over.
You knew it was crunch time. Come on in. End of the game. Chargers, Raiders.
Sudden death at San Diego as the Raiders' Marcus Allen spots a crack in the Charger defense at the 30.
Harry Callis with the quick, rapid-fire delivery.
Awesome. 4 o'clock game. Your weekend's winding down. You know you're going to get called to dinner and have to do your homework soon.
You'd hear that music, oh no, school's almost here. And watching as they showed Mike Quick go 99 yards to win a game.
And there goes Mike Quick, which he is indeed.
Fantastic Finishes was the greatest thing ever.
What does that have to do with anything? It's just another commercial that I don't need to see when there's too many commercials already. So, please.
Alcoa, I think, was one of the first to attach their name or brand to something during NFL games.
I don't even know what Alcoa is.
What is Alcoa? It was a tinfoil or aluminum company.
The fact that I knew as a child what Alcoa was, because of the Alcoa Fantastic Finish,
is remarkable. I mean, that's great marketing.
I think it promoted the beverage industry to a certain extent, but the plays made it.
Hold it. The punt is blocked. Tate Randall spiked it. It's bouncing back to the 15. Eugene Daniels scoops it up and trots home. Colts win. Finally.
I mean, I remember thinking there were like 50 of these things. Only there was a very, very small number.
Even in a numbers show, we'll never tell. After all, Alcoa's raid of the NFL Films vault is what landed them on our list.
It seemed like once every 3 weeks I saw the Holy Roller from the Chargers-Raiders game, or that Minnesota Hail Mary to Ahmad Rashad, or Dick Vermeil looking up at the sky like, how the heck are we going to win this one? And then out of nowhere, Pisarcik fumbles, and there goes Herm Edwards.
Touchdown Eagles! I don't believe it! I don't believe it!
And you had the original Hail Mary, the Drew Pearson touchdown. But still, I just like the song.
Alcoa's fantastic finishes is what makes me an NFL Films fan.
When you had NFL Films and fantastic finishes, you had a great double play combination.
Okay, so we didn't put ourselves on the list. No reason to blow our own horn, but some insisted that we give a little toot-toot.
Oh, NFL Films, that's the 80s. I mean, that carried me. Watching those highlight tapes growing up, knowing all the music.
Oh, I love that song. Love that song.
John Facenda.
Pro football is a unique American experience.
NFL Films, greatest film ever. I was watching this when I was a kid, man.
But enough about us. Back to the countdown.
The number 6 reason we love the 80s. The 49ers.
I mean, I think we were the team of the decade.
That was their golden era.
They won 4 Super Bowls in the 80s. Why shouldn't they be on the list? They are the list.
They were rock stars. They had the best defensive player in the league, the best offensive player in the league. Everywhere they went, it was an event. It was the Beatles on road trips.
My 3 favorite football players are Dwight Clark from the San Francisco 49ers, Dwight Clark, and Dwight Clark.
They had everything. They had the star power with Joe Montana,
Jerry Rice, Tom Rathman, John Taylor,
Roger Craig, Ronnie Lott on the defense.
Hacksaw Reynolds was there for a while. Great offensive line, Randy Cross.
List goes on and on. Bill Walsh built a terrific team.
Boy, the depth on this football team is just indescribable.
When you talk dynasties, the 80s were sort of faux sleek decade. I mean, now we look back on it and laugh at the technology, but at the time it seemed sleek and futuristic. Don Johnson or the theme music synthesizers. And the 49ers kind of fit that because they were like sophisticated. You know, their offense was sophisticated. They were like the next generation, the future. You know, plus they're on the West Coast. Apple computers starting on the West Coast out there then.
You have to include the catch in all this. It was like the signature moment that started everything.
Looking to throw, and he throws into the end zone. Touchdown!
Bill Walsh and Joe Montana, Dwight Clark. That really summarized that decade.
They were so good, it was almost criminal.
And yet there were no bad guys on the 1980s Niner squad.
It was not a team that drew out much ire in people. They were sort of universally liked and respected.
We had a class organization. There weren't guys getting in trouble. I mean, you had Joe Montana, who was one of the most marketable stars. And then you had Jerry Rice, who's arguably the greatest football player ever.
Bill Walsh, just this bright, well-spoken guy, the picture of class and grace and elegance.
I just can't say enough about the resourcefulness of all 49 players, because all of them contributed.
The 49ers were the best team of the 80s. There's no question. They get number 1.
We know we're the best team!
The main thing is I don't like to lose.
It should be number 1. As the 49ers, you got them way in the back of the bus.
It's professional football. I mean, the team of the 80s isn't number 1. We're number 1. Number one. I mean, come on. If they had things that we love about the 70s, would the Steelers be number 1? Absolutely. So the 49ers should be number one. So I don't know who's doing the ranking here, but they've got it screwed up.
The number 5 reason we love the 80s. Reagan calling the locker room.
President's calling the locker room beats the 49ers?
This supersedes the actual team of the decade?
Did a Giants fan do this?
How do we create this list?
Well, I thought it might be.
That's what the 80s were. The 80s were fun. God, it was wonderful. He didn't call losing teams.
We're going to hook you up live right now with President Reagan.
When I see the President of the United States on the phone, I think the same thing I think about whether God cares about football. Get off the phone and do something, okay? You do it on your own time.
Our number 5 selection made the list because it gave events in the 80s a new sense of occasion.
This is Air Force One. Stand by for the president, please. Very best wishes. Congratulations again.
Well, thank you, and give my best to Nancy.
Presidents calling the locker room. What was that all about? It was purely political. It had to be.
A week from Sunday, America is going to come to a stop. The Super Bowl.
Where's Ricky Sanders?
America is a football-mad country. Any politician will take something that is enormously loved, like football, and try to use it for his own purposes. That is what politicians do.
I don't suppose you'd like to win one for the Gipper. My favorite president calling the locker room moment was Ronald Reagan calling Bill Walsh. Ronald Reagan, as he tended to do, came up with the, well, Bill.
You might tell Joe Montana maybe they really didn't win one for the Gipper.
Awkward.
I can't hear.
You remind me of me in high school trying to call a girl out for a date. Huh? What? Hello? I can't hear you. What? Thank you.
Far too high, far too corny. And it's so 80s to think of, hello? Oh, yes, this is the president? Oh, sure, who are you looking for? Joe Gibbs. Yeah, hang on. Joe, it's for you.
The way you drop those plays, I might have to bring you into the White House to help.
Maybe now that they've won the championship, they'd like to help me up on Capitol Hill with some of the congressmen.
You know, Reagan's going to take the one-liner. What do you say? It's the president.
So we're going to come back and try and help you put together the budget and a few other things.
That was a wonderful win tonight.
They have a camera in the locker room. They have a camera with a president. So staged. I hate it.
The most vivid one I remember is the Marcus Allen one, after the 74-yard run against the Redskins.
I just think you ought to know, though, that you've given me some problems. I have already had a call from Moscow. They think that Marcus Allen is a new secret weapon, and they insist that we dismantle it.
You're our new secret weapon. Wow.
That's the gold standard of presidential phone calls.
You're not going to see that again.
They're too busy right now. Too much going on in the world for them to call.
We couldn't do a show about the 80s without celebrating the time before free agency.
It was the last of kind of the old-fashioned football where guys weren't going from team to team.
That's where you had rivalries. Because if you were a Packer, you were always a Packer. If you were a Viking, you were always a Viking.
Back then, Sunday afternoon, a football game was a boxing match that could turn into a street fight in a hurry.
While the teams got physical, the men at our number 4 spot did their fighting with words.
But you got some that I don't think you've got.
And you never will.
The number 4 reason we love the 80s. Outrageous head coaches.
That was the golden era of coach speak.
There's a gleam, man. There's a gleam.
The 80s were a time when it's becoming obviously a tremendous television sport, and owners wanted personality.
I know I'm smarter than that. It's about excess. It was about give me something different. Give me something extra.
But it was a dumb play. When
They could be just a little flaky and do things that you just kind of went, huh?
What I thought of the call last week on Frank Warren?
Once a few started doing it and were outspoken, then none of them were afraid to do it. I love that. I wish we'd get more of that now.
Hurry it up, hurry it up.
With so much of the decade to cover, who did we think are the top 3 outrageous coaches?
This is why you do all that.
Well, I'd say goofy coaches, Sam Wise.
Right now, I'm going to Kings Island.
Take this thing off and you wear your pants. Pretty decent way to make a living for you people.
Weich's most memorable outburst came at the expense of his conference rivals to the north.
Well, the next person that sees anybody throw anything
this field, point him out, and get him out of here. You don't live in Cleveland.
I'm like, what are you, like a half a yard away from Cleveland when it comes to crappy places?
I guess still like Buddy Ryan because he made a lot of proclamations.
Was it fair enough to think that it was more important beating the Cowboys than just winning going to the playoffs?
Oh, who the hell are the Cowboys? We beat them every time we play.
He was a carnival barker. He was a wrestler screaming in the middle of the ring.
And that's the way it's going to be. How much that many damn times do I have to tell you that?
And people in Philadelphia gave him a pass because he was such a huge personality.
One coach who wouldn't give Buddy a pass was the Cowboys' Jimmy Johnson. He took exception to the Eagles' aggressive style of play.
Who goes to the penalty box?
Oh, I would have said something to Buddy, but he wouldn't stand on the field long enough. He put his big fat rear end into the dressing room.
I resent that. I've been on a diet. I lost a couple of pounds, and I thought I was looking good.
Weish is a mad scientist. Buddy is a blowhard. But Glanville left tickets for Elvis. So who's the most outrageous? He left tickets for a dead rock and roll star.
He's not dead. He's alive. This isn't college. You're not at a home party.
I understand.
This is the NFL, which stands for not for long when you make them calls. Yeah. I'll be selling groceries.
For all the shenanigans that he's given credit for,
Here she comes. In the beach.
there was method to his madness. There was genius.
Take that blitz and stick it up your Jerry Glanville.
Absolutely loved him and hated him. As a Steeler fan growing up, you hated Jerry Glanville. He and Chuck Noll butted heads all the time. They didn't like each other.
Guys coming over and jumping people like that are going to get your Just know that. I'm serious.
The Houston Oilers are a dirty team. They're scum. They're dirt. They're really dirty.
Everybody hates Jerry Glanville. He's got to have policemen out there escorting him because of death threats. They don't make coaches like Jerry Glanville anymore.
I think that added to the fun of the 1980s. It was the generation, it was the time.
Those are the greatest coaches ever.
Oh, look what he did.
The number 3 reason we love the 80s, the Bears.
When you think back on the 80s, I think you think 85 Bears. They were a cultural phenomenon. They were kind of a party and shoulder pads.
They had the Super Bowl shuffle, right? I mean, can you imagine like Tom Brady and the Patriots after winning the Super Bowl, they're doing like a music video for MTV? MTV doesn't even have music videos anymore.
Much like other fads of the 80s, number 3 on our list was an overnight sensation.
The Bears really hadn't done anything. They had changed coaches. They had changed quarterbacks like people change their socks. All of a sudden, Mike Ditka's the head coach, the big tough guy, and it was going to be the Bears.
The Bears.
They get rolling on a season that's almost undefeated, and it was more than just a sporting event. It was almost became a civic thing in the city of Chicago that all of a sudden the Bears were relevant again.
Well, there goes nothing.
The story of their season unfolded as expected, but there was one surprise ending.
That Super Bowl twin victory celebrations will probably never be repeated, with Buddy being carried off by his team and Mike Ditka being carried off by his team. All happened to be in the same uniform. There was dysfunction with the Bears.
See that? That's your IQ, buddy. 0.
The defense completely hated the head coach, to the point where I'm still even shocked to this day that Richard Dent did not mention Mike Ditka in his Hall of Fame speech.
Joe Adams, John Smith, Dan Hampton, Tyrone Keys, Mike Richardson, Steve McMichael. Thank you.
Steve McMichael, a defensive lineman, was giving an interview, and he had his jersey and pants on, but he had his shoes off and started picking his toenails. And I thought, I love this guy. These are the Chicago Bears.
They had so many colorful characters, starting with the head coach, Mike Ditka. Then you had the rebel quarterback in Jim McMahon. And then you had the legend that was Walter Payton. And it was like, where does he fit with these misfits of football science? Then the fat guy running the ball, the fridge fella.
The refrigerator.
Hot dogs, milkshakes, french fries, $1. All for refrigerators, stand up and holler.
When they went to London in 1986, they discovered that William Perry was an international phenomenon.
The thing I remember, and this may not be the same era as the huge football player was called the Refrigerator. He made huge press in England.
A lot is made of, Fridge and what he was able to do, barreling through to get himself 3 yards in the red zone. But to me, that defense, huge. They smothered you.
Fellas, what are they, unblockable? Is that the 85 Bears over there?
For 1 year, most dominant defense and football team in the game, no question.
There are, however, many questioning their spot on our list.
It was a great year, but they did it for 1 year.
Really, the Chicago Bears of the 80s underachieved.
Are they ranked higher than the 49ers? This is unbelievable.
They can't compete with the 49ers in terms of what they accomplished, during the course of that decade.
The 49ers won 4 Super Bowls. Why did the Bears become the iconic team of the 80s? No.
People talk about them like they were the greatest dynasty on the planet. They had 1 year.
This is an outrage. They had the headband. The headband's lower than the 49ers.
I think the Bears represented a fashion that quickly became out of style.
Basically, the Bears were like Cabbage Patch Kids. And there were soccer moms just flooding into malls and toy stores, having to get their Cabbage Patch Kid. 10 years later, we were looking back going, it's a doll with a signature tattooed on its butt.
With so much talent, there were other great teams that couldn't crack our top 10.
The Raiders, when you get to the Raiders in the 80s, you get such a symbol and an image. They were such a signature franchise of the decade.
Just win, baby.
You can't forget the Washington Redskins. I mean, that's a team. John Riggins, Theismann, the Hogs. I mean, those guys were legit. And so you put all that together, and it feels like the 80s were kind of the golden years.
Actually, the 80s were more neon than gold.
The number 2 reason we love the 80s. Hair and fashion.
It was so bad it was good.
You either look back in shame and embarrassment at the bad choices, or you just say, you know what? You embrace it. And I say, let's embrace it. Yes, the closet was filled with neon clothing. Yes, the vanity was filled with, cans of hairspray that had to shellac your hair in place.
The absolute worst thing in the 80s was the perm hair. Everybody had it, and it went bigger and bigger.
The hairstyles of the 80s, they were really, a lot of the rockers had them all glammed out, very feminine. There was a certain embodiment of feminine qualities by men in the 80s.
They all look like women, and people were freaking out. I'm like, it looks like a woman on stage. Where's the men?
I remember even Ozzy, who I love, in 84, Bette Midler.
'80s hair and fashion begins and ends with Mark Gastineau's hair, really.
80s hair is that Todd Christensen's pulled over perm.
Jerry Rice with his, I don't know what that thing was. It looked like a ski ramp.
Some of them had stuff shaved in the sides of their head.
There's Marino's Miami perm, especially when there's the backwards cap on. It's pretty amazing.
You had the mullets.
Business in the front, party in the back. Yeah.
Hair spilling out of the backs of helmets was a common sight during the 1980s.
I just liked the blonde hair out of the back of my uniform. I thought it looked heroic or like a titan.
The Bosworth Mohawk made its way into football and action films. Thank you very much. I thought that was a big thing. I can't believe that hasn't come back yet.
He was like a white Mr. T.
With less jewelry and better acting skills.
Yep. Even now, you're like, what was the Boz doing? Flat top bleach with the mullet and the lightning bolts in his side? That's pushing the boundaries even for the 80s.
Lest we forget the ever-popular 1980s Jerry curl.
Everybody know how hard it was to wear a Jerry curl playing in cold weather, right? Walter Payton played in cold weather with a Jerry curl. Jerry curl juice would naturally freeze at low temperatures. You better believe when that man got tackled, he heard crackling. His hair would crackle because it was frozen under that helmet. He couldn't even pull his helmet off, I heard, until he got in the locker room and warmed up a little bit. right? Because he didn't want to pull his helmet off while it was frozen because it would rip his hair out.
You know, the only thing that was really bad in the 80s were coaching shorts. If you ever go back and you look at practices from the 80s, the shorts were really super small. They're like hot pants. The coaches had super short, tight, they had pockets. Why they had pockets, I don't know how they could ever get their hands in them, but they were really up high, like basically ball huggers.
Parachute pants? I mean, those weren't just comfortable, but they were functional. Why are they not still around? They had pockets everywhere, zippers, right? Michael Jackson knew what he was doing, at least on that front. Not all fronts.
The fashion now is like very subtle, right? You wear your jeans, you wear your jersey, but in the 80s, it was like, make me as loud as possible. I want big, loud colors on my top, and then I want my pants to look like pajama bottoms that got dipped in watercolor. Can you do that for me? Now I'm ready to go to the football game.
Oh, Zubaz pants is terrific, yeah.
There were a couple of teams that really did Zubaz.
The Dolphins were like the king of the Zubaz.
You'd see them in the team colors. They might have been the ugliest things ever sold.
They were just awful. Those were ugly.
Ugh. I think what was going on in the 80s with style was a lot of experiments gone awry.
Listen, every decade has to have its thing. The 80s had bad hair and fashion.
And now, the number one reason we love the 80s, our team of the decade, Madden and Summerall.
I think of that era, Madden and Summerall, it doesn't get any bigger than that.
This is a football of the 80s.
I like Madden and Summerall, but number one on the list?
They were the best that ever did what they did.
Boom, they're going deep up, making big plays.
They don't mind throwing it. Wide open is Solomon.
In the same way that summer smells like fresh cut grass, that's what football sounds like, Summerall and Madden.
Montana kept the quarterback snake, and he got in.
Maybe that's why Joe Montana's smiling, huh?
You couldn't have a better blend than what those two guys brought to the game.
Man, they were a beautiful pair.
They were magical.
I felt like running down and playing.
I have goosebumps all over.
You've just witnessed the longest run in Super Bowl history.
You don't teach that. You don't practice that. You don't see that on film.
Madden and Summerall are our number one team because for everything we loved about the 80s, they were there to bring it to us.
And I'll tell you, he got the big one there.
Did he ever? That looked like he was going on a honeymoon somewhere.
And John Madden, there was never anybody like him.
How about Jim Burt bringing his son out there, giving him 5 kisses in a row? That's a Super Bowl record.
He put a face on these grisly characters, and it spawned a whole new era of what pro football was really all about.
Sanders back with protection. For Bavaro, touchdown.
And in Summerall, you just talk about the gold standards, the chops, the pipes.
The pitch out is to Washington. Joe Washington doesn't get in.
It was almost like you had the Ivy League of broadcasting partnering with a guy from Home Depot. And it worked.
This is the Super Bowl winning coach of number 11, John Madden.
When CBS teamed up the two in 1981, Summerall was the established star. Viewers only knew Madden from his on-field tirades with the Raiders.
What a passionate coach he was. He was so funny, all fat on the sidelines and crazy and rabid and insane.
You big jerk! You don't call. Never call one on them?
I think that's why John Madden was so great, because his personality was real. He was flawed.
Frank gets a reversal. Taylor's going for the reversal. Frank gets a pin. 1, 2, 3.
He liked the big, rough guys. Probably, didn't wipe their hands after they ate and farted a lot.
I'll tell you, that was a man-sized spike.
It made Madden an instant star.
Now watch Freddie Solomon here.
He could show you something that happened in a game that you, 1, didn't see, and 2, didn't understand, and 3, didn't appreciate until he showed it to you.
Even if you don't complete it.
That's right. That's the best thing you can do early is sweep and throw deep.
With With Madden, Summerall evolved to keep up with this new force of nature.
What Summerall learned was, I don't need to say everything. I just need to say the important things.
And Anderson is going to throw, and does. Ross, touchdown.
Summerall just served it up like Magic Johnson on the break, and Madden like Worthy would jam it home.
He makes a little basketball twist there and pivot, and boom, the ball's there.
Pat was the sort of the pause button for John Madden.
I'll let you go there. Boom, right to the ground.
He could just tuck John down from the cliff.
He did cut him.
Plus, what's a Sunday in the 1980s without hearing Pat Summerall telling you that tonight on CBS, Murder, She Wrote.
It was just so enjoyable in the 1980s and knew they were there. It was just like having your favorite uncle around you at all times.
I don't know, they just remind you of childhood. They just remind you of growing up and listening, and that was what football sounded like.
Theismann doesn't see him, hear him, or feel him. Boom, here he comes.
I can't begin to tell you how many times I had dinner with my mom and my dad in the living room with our little TV trays out, watching Pat Summerall and John Madden call a football game.
Montana has been magnificent.
Listening to them, it meant it was the game. Those are the voices for me that will last a lifetime.
How does he feel, John? Doesn't get any better than this. And the great thing about it, it lasts forever.
For us, memories of the 1980s will last forever. Whether it began with a game, a show, a team, or a coach, a lifelong passion for many was born in one unforgettable decade.